You should not buy a Civic Type R. Well, good afternoon, everybody. How y'all doing? Pretty good here, and welcome to the channel. I am on my way home from the dentist. I had to have a little filling done here, and the numbness is pretty much worn off now, but I want to get on here and talk about why you should not buy a Civic Type R. As many of you may know, I had a Civic Type R. Prior to that, I had a Civic Sport. I traded the Sport in, got the Civic Type R, and now I'm back in a Civic Sport again. So the first reason why you should not buy a Civic Type R: if you don't like attention, if you worry about your car, don't buy a Civic Type R. Because the Civic Type R, in my experience, garners a ton of attention. Almost 99% of the time when I went somewhere, people would comment, people would notice, people would say something. I didn't really mind that myself. Actually, I thought that was kind of fun. But if you don't like a lot of attention and you don't want to talk to people about your car, don't buy a Civic Type R. If you worry about leaving your car parked somewhere, you know, you go to the shopping mall, the grocery store, even work, and you worry about leaving your car there because someone might screw with it, mess with it, park too close to it, all of those things that frankly I worry about with any car I drive, don't buy a Civic Type R. It will garner attention. People will come up and look at it. They'll want to lean in, look inside. They might even touch it. If you don't like that, it's probably not the car for you, because it will happen, and it will happen frequently. Next, if you don't take your car to the track, if you don't track the car, don't spend the extra money on a Civic Type R, unless it's for an investment. If you're buying it as an investment and you're going to park it in the garage and leave it set to gain value, buy the Type R. But if you're not doing it for that reason and you're not going to take it to the track, save yourself some money, buy a Civic Sport. It's just as fun to drive. It's not quite as powerful. It doesn't handle quite as well, but that's okay. It's a blast to drive. It's got plenty of power for what it is, and you'll love it. I love mine, so much so that I bought another one. If you don't like squeaks and rattles, don't buy a Type R. The Type R is notorious for squeaky brakes. And not that it's a problem. It's not a problem. They squeak because they should. They should because they're performance brakes. They're designed for the track. They're designed to give you optimal stopping power. Because of the materials that they use in the brakes, they squeak. They squeak in normal driving. They will squeak on the track. They squeak all the time. And it's not just a low-pitched, barely can hear it kind of squeak. It's a high-pitched, shrill squeak. You're going to hear it. People are going to look when you pull up. When you pull up to the stoplight and there's people beside you, they're going to look over at you. They're going to think, man, fix those brakes. That didn't particularly bother me, but the loud, high-pitched, shrill squeaking did. That was annoying. Now, you can change out the brake pads, of course, and some people have done that. But why have to do it? I mean, the car is designed to come the way that it comes and function the way that it's supposed to with those brakes. Rattles. If you don't like rattles, you should definitely not buy a Type R. Mine had rattles in both pillars, on both sides of the front. Mine had a rattle in the dash somewhere. You can take it back into the dealer. You can go through the warranty process and try to get it fixed, but it's a hassle. It rattles. And I'm not sure that in doing that, you're ever going to cure the rattle. So you're going to have to live with that. I find it pretty annoying. After a while, constantly listening to the car rattle, it's very annoying. If you're a heavy modder, you're heavy into modding, you want to change the car, make the car your own. Don't buy a Type R. And the reason I say that is because the Type R is already set up. It doesn't need anything else. It is ready to go out of the box. Now, there are some things that you can do to it. You can change the exhaust. You can do some suspension mods. You can put a breather on it, although you don't really need to. As far as an intake, I mean. You could probably put some nitrous on it if you wanted to. But you don't need to do any of that. It's already set up. Why spend the extra money when it's not necessary? It doesn't need to be done. That's one of the reasons that I went back to the Sport, is because I wanted a car that I could mod and make it my own. The little cues and things that I want in the car. So if you're a big modder, don't buy a Civic Type R. Next, if you don't want to change the wheels, if you don't want to invest in wheels, or tires, I should say, and you live in a cold climate, don't buy a Civic Type R. The Civic Type R comes with summer tires. They're rated, I believe, at, I think it's around 40 degrees Fahrenheit, something like that, and higher. They're summer tires. If you live in a climate that has cold weather, winters, or temperatures that drop below regularly for long periods of time, 40-some degrees, don't buy a Type R. Because you're going to have to put different tires on it if you want to drive it. These summer tires with those temperature ratings will become brittle in colder temperatures. They can fail. The other thing that I'll mention with the tire wheel setup is the low profile tire. You have about this much space, this much space between the bottom of the tire, or between the tire rather, and the ground, because the wheel is only yay thick. So if you go over any potholes, or you live in an area that has really crappy roads and has potholes or deep divots in the roads, things like that, or you're one of those curbers, you're going to have a problem. I've seen many instances on the web of people bending their rims, their wheels, having flat tires, going into areas that have a lot of potholes and blowing tires. It's because they're very low profile. You can't avoid it. That's going to happen unless you are very, very careful with how you drive and where you drive. Otherwise, you're going to have to change out the wheels and the tires with something that is more conducive to that kind of an environment. The last thing that I'll mention are the bolstered seats. While I do find the seats themselves to be rather comfortable, they are bolstered. Now, they are the best bolsters that I've had. They do give when you get in and out. They are flexible, so it's not like you're stabbing yourself in the side every time you get in or out. They do roll a little bit. They do give you a little bit of leeway to get in and out of the car. But they still are confining. They hold you in the seat, which is what they're intended to do. That's what they're for the track. So if you don't like that, if you don't want to sit in the car and feel like you're confined, then don't buy a Type R, because you will. That's just the way that they are. One final thing I had forgotten that I will mention is the shifting. Now this is a polarizing view, I guess. While the shifting in the Type R is not bad by any means, the shifting in the Civic Sport is better. It's smoother. The clutch is lighter. It's more livable, I suppose, than the Type R. Again, the Type R is not horrible. If you don't like a lot of feedback in the shifter, in the clutch, don't buy a Type R as compared to the Sport. The Sport is just miles smoother, in my opinion. Anyway, appreciate you guys watching. I just wanted to get on here and talk about that for a little bit. Let you guys know why I think you shouldn't buy a Type R. As usual, appreciate you guys watching. Please give this video a big thumbs up. Let me know what you think. And click that subscribe button if you haven't before. We'll see you next time on the web. Have a good day. Bye.